Hello everyone, this is Preeti here, and our today's topic is management theories and its approaches. Coming to the presentation outline, where we are going to see the general introduction of management theories, five major schools of management thought, namely classical school, behavioral school, quantitative school, system school, and contingency school. First is the classical school, where we are going to see the introduction to scientific management theory by F.W. Taylor, some techniques of Taylorism, types of work study, some principles and objectives of Taylorism or scientific management theory, how Taylorism leads to second industrial revolution, what are the limitations of scientific management theory. An interesting fact about the booming business of prison industry. Coming to management theories, general introduction. So management theories are a collection of ideas which set forth some general rules on how to manage a business or an organization. There are many management theories floating around the business world. Some are old, but some are new. But pretty much all of them are based in one form or the other on one of the most important five management theories which will be explained. We should focus on making the business a success. For that success, a larger part on the way how we lead our employees. These management theories are very important as they give a concrete way to inspire the greatness in our team. Generally, professionals will not solely rely on one management theory alone, but instead introduce several concepts from different management theories that best suit their workforce and company culture. Coming to five major schools of management thought. Some of the management schools are classical school, behavioral school, quantitative school, system school, and contingency school. Classical school emphasizes that managing workers and organizations more efficiently, whereas the behavioral school emphasizes on understanding the human behavior in the organization. Quantitative school emphasizes on increasing the quality of managerial decision making through the application of mathematical and some statistical methods. System school emphasizes on understanding the organization as a system that transforms the input into output while in constant interaction with its external environment. Contingency school emphasis on applying some management principles and processes as dictated by the unique characteristics of each and every different situation. Coming to classical school, Introduction to Scientific Management Theory or Taylorism. This management theory, which was developed by Frederick Winslow Taylor, was very popular in 1880s and 1890s in the US manufacturing industries. He was an American mechanical engineer who sought to improve the industrial efficiency while working at Midvale Steel Industry and defined the scientific management as the efforts made to increase the productivity of labor by reducing his labors. He is awarded as the father of scientific management, and one of his many contributions to modern management is the common practice of giving employees rest breaks throughout the day, that is, fatigue study. Several leaders who extended Taylor's efforts are Henry Lauret, Carl Jod, Horace King, Morris, Sanford, Frank, and Harrington. His three areas of focus are task performance, that is one best method, supervision, which is functional foremanship, motivation, motivating the employees or workers by giving higher wages. His two managerial practices are piece rate incentive system and time motion study. Coming to the techniques of Taylor's theory. First one is introducing the costing system. This helps in reducing the production cost and distribution costs and increases the profitability. Second one is mental revolution. It revolutionized the mind of workers and management for mutual respect and cooperation and unity in the industry. Third is scientific selection, placement and training for the workers. So selecting the right talent, training with necessary skills and placing them at the right roles or activities is very important in the industry. Fourth one is the development of functional foremanship, where the factory management technique used for having multiple foremen in different specialized roles. Fifth one is a work study, which includes time study, motion study, method study, and fatigue study. Sixth one is standardization of tools and equipment. This helps to reduce time, labor, and cost of production. So these were the six techniques of scientific management theory by F.W. Taylor. Coming to the types of work study. There are four types of work study, namely time study, motion study, method study, and fatigue study. First is the time study. The time study is measured using the time measuring devices like stopwatch, etc. It is used to determine the standard time required to perform a well defined or complete job. The example is the workers are divided based on efficient, inefficient, or average. Second is the motion study, where the stopwatches in various colors and symbols are used for measurement. It is used to determine the necessary actions and movements required for completing a job. Example, productive, unproductive, or incidental type of actions or movements are measured. Third is a method study, where process charts and operational research is used for measurement. It is used to determine the one best method or way of performing a particular task. This helps to minimize the cost of production and maximize the quality and satisfaction of the customer. Fourth one is a fatigue study, where verbal rating scale and visual analog scales are used for measurement. It is used to determine the amount of rest required or the break required by the employees to do work effectively and efficiently in the working hours. Example, the number of rest intervals, the frequency or the duration of the rest intervals are measured. These were the types of work study. Coming to the principles and objectives of Taylor's theory. The four main principles of Taylorism are science, not the rule of thumb, where scientific and research methods are used. Second is harmony, not discord, where encourage mutual respect and avoid conflict between the managers and the workers. Third is a cooperation, not individualism, which means unity and teamwork increase the productivity in the organization. Fourth, maximum, not restricted output. So, maximum output results in higher wages to the workers and greater profit for the organization by selecting the right candidate or right employees for the right job. And the objectives achieved are increases the productivity, efficient use of resources, that is scarce resources, motivating the employees using the higher wages, right person for the right job, allowing the incentives, rewards, or higher wages to the employees who are efficient to do more work, reducing the cost and improving the quality of production. So these were the principles and objectives of Taylorism or Taylor's theory. Let's see how the Taylorism principles leads to second industrial revolution. In this picture, first industrial revolution takes place where there is an introduction of mechanical production facilities with the help of water and steam power in the year 1800s. Coming to the second industrial revolution, where the introduction of a division of labor and mass production with the help of electrical energy takes place. Example, Henry Ford manufactured Model T cars in the Ford Motor Company in the year 1870s using the first assembly line plant. And he also encouraged by F.W. Taylor's principles of scientific management. Third industrial revolution, use of electronic and IT systems that further automate the production in 1969, where first programmable PC are introduced using the TQM, which is total quality management. And the fourth industrial revolution is using the digital connected world in 2000, where they use lean and Six Sigma principles. So this is how the Taylorism principles leads to second industrial revolution. Coming to the limitations of scientific management theory. He just ignored the human element and emphasized more on increasing the productivity of the industry. It is based on one best method as it works for simple organizations but not for today's dynamic and very complex organizations. Due to the functional foremanship, the workers have to report to 8 bosses where there is no unity of command, which creates a chaos and confusion in the organization. So according to Taylor, workers are motivated only by financial gains or incentives or higher wages, but in reality, the workers also get motivated by social needs and personal egos. It is focused on specialization and repetition of jobs, which may increase the productivity but reduces the creativity and innovation of new products and processes due to this monotonous work. So, these were the limitations of scientific management theory. Coming to our interesting topic, booming prison industry in India. Prison industry is an industry or an enterprise based on the labor of prisoners. According to NCRB, National Crime Reports Bureau, the value of goods produced by prisoners during the year 2018 in India is rupees 463.493 crores. Some of the operating prison industries in India are textile and weaving industry, tailoring, soap making, bookbinding, and some training in simple trades such as wiring, plumbing, painting, etc. And some occasional training groups are choir production, beautician courses, carpentry work, candle making, computer hardware courses, etc. So the new outlook of prisoners is that they want to use their time for reformation and rehabilitation and taking some correctional programs for job opportunities after their release from prison. For example, in Tamil Nadu, the wages per day is rupees 60, where 20% of their wages goes to victims fund and 30% for prison administration. According to one of the great leader, Nelson Mandela, a nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones, which are poor and the prisoners. That is a win-win situation for both the prisoners who have a better future in their lives as well as for the government who improves the economy using their prisoners as a human resource. I hope you like this video. For more videos, keep watching this channel. Thank you.